Here's Gilgeous-Alexander. McCollum staying with him. Spins, gets inside. Left-handed off the glass. Oh, what a sweet move.
Giddy, tough spot. Backdoor. What a pass. What a play. And J-Dub picks the pocket of Trae Young. He'll take it himself.
This is New Dart. You're listening to the Uncontested.
What is up, and welcome to the Uncontested podcast, coming to you live Saturday, May 11th, after the Thunder lose Game 3 in Dallas to the Mavericks, 105-101, and just a rock 'em, sock 'em, drag it out kind of game. I'm your host for the evening, Jacob Niffen. Got my guy, Justin Peabody, with me tonight.
Hello, everybody.
It's a little two-man game tonight. We are brought to you by the Blue Wire Podcast Network and the best fast casual food in Oklahoma City, Dave's Hot Chicken and Spark OKC. Justin, big one to dive into. As the Thunder go down 2-1 in the series, or go down 1-2. I don't know. Are you supposed to put which number do you put first when you say they go down?
I usually keep the Thunder first, just because
the Thunder go down 1-2. There we go. And just a rough, kind of gritty game from the word go. Both teams went on runs. Both teams took leads, up and down. But let's start with just a quick synopsis of the game, kind of the ebbs and flows that you saw. You want to kick us off here with the beginning of the game? I did not get to tune into a lot of the beginning of the game.
Sure.
So I'll let you take us. And again, not like intent breakdown.
I don't want to relive it.
The big
so
flows.
Don't worry.
Yeah.
The theme of this game to start was the theme that really persisted throughout. It was just kind of sloppy for Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City came out poor shooting start. PJ Washington came out like the ghost of Tracy McGrady. The Mavericks, I think they got up as much as 9 in that first quarter. Like, it happened pretty quick. Dallas came out aggressive. Oklahoma City looked a little discombobulated. They ended up cutting it closer, down to 3 at the end of the first quarter. Isaiah Joe came in, hit some nice shots, hit one at the buzzer at the end of both of the first 2 quarters. Second quarter was a lot closer. It was more the back and forth kind of slugfest that we saw for most of the rest of the game. Stayed pretty close. Again, Isaiah Joe closed out the quarter really well, hit a 3 at the buzzer. Was it a tie game at halftime? Oh, Thunder were up by 1 at half.
Yeah, and I thought the beginning of the second quarter, the Thunder really started to find their shot. The first quarter, I think they were 1 of 8 from 3.
Yeah, neither team
really
shot
the
great.
ball movement became much better in the second quarter. Started finding open threes, and more importantly, just knocking down the shots.
Yep, absolutely. The other big theme early on, offensive rebounding. The Mavs had 14. I think it was 14 in the first half. I believe they ended with 19 or 20 total. It was brutal. I think this is something, we talked about. They ended with 15, and I'm pretty sure 14 of those were in the first half. This is something we talked about on the preview show. Rebounding doesn't win basketball games, but offensive rebounds that capitalize and turn into second chance points, that'll get you beat. And that's what the Mavericks have been doing, especially today. Dallas, 15 offensive rebounds. ESPN, this always gets me. They don't show second chance points, so I don't have it pulled up. But a lot of second chance points for Dallas, and it was brutal. It was absolutely crushing to the Thunder, where they would play pretty solid defense at times and force a tough shot but then just couldn't rat the ball. There was one possession where I think the Mavericks got 6 attempts.
There's something like that. I know exactly what you're talking about.
It's murderous.
Too. Yeah. Justin, we've learned all season long that rebounding does not equate to winning.
Yep.
Right? We've learned it all season long. I don't know. Some football guy posted something. I thought Thunder fans told me that they didn't need a big man who could rebound. And it's just like, Jesus Christ, dude. Like, you put a big in there, that's a traditional 5 that rebounds.
Yep.
And you're getting cooked on the backside every single time. Like, anyways, the offensive rebounds aren't a huge deal until your opponent ends the game taking 10 more field goal attempts than you.
Yep. And again, that disparity happened in the first half and kind of maintained through the rest of the game.
Yeah, it was up to 14 more field goal attempts at the end of the third, and then the Thunder closed the gap a hair there in the fourth. But you give the Thunder 10 more possessions in this game, chances are they're scoring more than 4 points, and they win this basketball game. To me, the big takeaway from this one is the field goal attempts from the Mavs. It feels like you really squandered an opportunity when you held the Mavs to 43% from the field, 33% from 3. You forced them into, where's the turnovers at? 14 turnovers, but you also turned the ball over 14 times.
Yep.
Luka Doncic went 7 of 17 and 1 of 4 from 3. Like, it feels like you wasted an opportunity here.
Totally.
But it's a 7-game series for a reason.
Yep. It felt like if the Thunder could have pulled this one out late, and they were very much in it all the way, as ugly as it was for the Thunder, really ugly for both teams, if we're being honest. As ugly as it was, the Thunder had a chance to snatch this one. And the general vibe would probably be totally different right now about the Thunder's grit if they had pulled this one off. But to your point, it's a 7-game series for a reason. Like, the difference between losing in 6 and winning in 7, or vice versa, is razor thin.
Yes.
But the vibes of those two outcomes are drastically different. I think for this Thunder team, some adjustments have to be made. The chat is filled with suggestions. A lot of armchair coaches today in the live stream chat, in the Twitter feed, in our Slack messages. Like, there's lots of opportunities to adjust. One of the things that stood out to me today, Dallas had Oklahoma City out of character, and they forced the issue on defense. Like, you do have to give credit to Dallas, because their defensive switching and pressure did not allow Oklahoma City to play the type of offense that they've been successful with this season. They had them pressing. They had them not really making any inroads towards scoring a basket till like 6 or 7 seconds left on the shot clock. Like, so many times today, the ball's never even crossed the 3-point line, and you look over at the shot clock and it's down to 6, 5, 4, and like, they're not anywhere close to getting a basket because Dallas is being so aggressive on the defensive end. And that we haven't seen that from Oklahoma City much this season. So you have to give them some credit, but you also have to look at the Thunder. Like, guys like Shea felt very passive at times, and then felt like they were forcing it at other times, just not playing controlled, not taking what the defense is giving you, but just letting Dallas dictate everything.
Yeah, I think that's probably fair. The Dallas defense is very good. They played very good. I thought the Thunder defense played very well today also. I was really impressed specifically by Chet Holmgren. Had a lid on the basket for a really long time.
Yep.
So, I mean, at the end of the day, it's a 4-point game, right? And there were some plays down the stretch. The Thunder were not great down the stretch in the fourth quarter. I don't think you can really complain about officiating either way.
It was
except
wild.
Except, how in the hell do you call a jump ball,
right,
when two guys never have their hands on the ball at the same time?
Insane call. Like, I'm sorry Luka hurt his back, but that in no world is that a jump ball. I would have been more okay with them calling a foul on Lou Dort on that play than a jump ball. That would have made more sense. The refs,
insane.
It felt like jailhouse ball for a good part of the game today.
Yes.
Like, just absolute slugfest. And it'll be interesting to see what game 4 officiating looks like, because I feel like through 3 games, there's been 3 completely different refereeing philosophies. But if I see another Mavs fan talk about officiating, I'm going to hurt someone, because I don't know how you can complain about it in good conscience at this point if you're a Mavs fan.
Totally agree. Like, I think Thunder fans feel like there was a lot of plays where the Thunder got fouled and didn't get a whistle. I thought there was a handful of plays where Lou got like incredibly physical with Luka and didn't get a whistle. Luka is trying to bait the fouls. I felt like there was maybe some that Luka should have been called for an offensive foul. Didn't get it.
Agreed on all counts.
I will say the one foul that kind of annoyed me was in game 2. There was a play where Luka was pushing in to Dort. Dort had his hand around him a little bit. Dort fell, brought Luka on top of him. They called it on Dort. That same play happened today, but flip-flopped. And it was still a foul on Dort. Luka hooked him, pulled him down, and it's a Dort foul. And I was like, man,
insane.
I get it, but if we're calling it one way in game 2, like, you got to call it the same way in game 3. That one's a little frustrating.
Agreed. Wholeheartedly agree. I thought the out of characteristic plays from the Thunder were probably most apparent to me in transition. This team has been so good in transition, and they had opportunities. Unlike game 2, where it felt like they didn't have as many transition opportunities, they had a lot today. How many times did we see just miscommunication where somebody passes and the guy's cutting the wrong way, or not looking and throwing it right to a Mavs defender? Like, so many plays that we just haven't seen the Thunder make in transition that really stifled some offensive opportunities.
That's just kind of been the theme. The transition efficiency has been very poor.
Very poor. And
I think maybe, to me, Justin, 2 plays that maybe cost them the game was that jump ball call, which you can't control, but then you lose the jump ball.
The fact that Lou lost the jump ball is infuriating also.
Well, I think Lou tipped it, but then the Mavs secured it. Is that right?
It looked like Luka out-jumped Lou. That's what I saw. And then Luka got the ball, which, like, that guy just rolled on the ground for 45 seconds grabbing his butt. You can't let him win that jump ball. I don't care where it goes. Nope. Don't do it.
Luka does that a lot and then gets up and is...
Yes, he does. That's, anyways, I used to do that in middle school basketball too. Every time I missed a shot, my sprained finger was acting up. I had the sprained middle finger.
Look at your hand on the way down. Like, what's wrong with this thing?
Yep.
The other play was they forced the turnover on Kyrie, and Isaiah Joe just gives it immediately back to Luka for a layup on the fast break.
Exactly.
That was a pivotal play to me.
Absolutely killer. Huge momentum swing, especially on the road.
Mm-hmm.
That Dallas crowd was not engaged for 60-70% of the game.
I was told that American Airlines Arena was the best home court advantage in the league.
Yes, we were. Shout out that guy. Wonder what he's up to right now. But you cannot let plays like that happen, especially on the road, because it gets the crowd engaged, it gets everybody fired up. It's the overused cliche, but like, it's the double-edged sword. Not only could you have had an easy bucket, but you let Dallas have an easy bucket instead. That hurts twice as much.
Totally agree. Let's take a break. On the other side, maybe we can jump into some individual performances and some like big picture stuff. Stay with us. We will be right back. And we're back. Justin, let's jump into maybe some themes that focus around individual players. I thought one of the main talking points coming into this game tonight was Josh Giddey and his play. Giddey tonight played 13 minutes, shot 50% from the floor, but only 1 of 4 from 3. He had 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 9 points on 8 shots, was only a -1. And I thought for the most part, like, wasn't awful. You want him to hit those threes, and if he hits those threes, it's a different game. But for the most part, I did not think it was like they didn't lose the game because of Josh Giddey. I thought he was incredibly impactful in that start of the second quarter where they went on the 11-0 run or whatever it was.
Yep.
I thought he was huge in that instance.
He was a huge part. But then, unfortunately, he played a role in kickstarting the Mavs counterpunch. And I think that's tough. You can't blame it all on him, and it wouldn't be logical to do so. But it did feel like he had a couple good plays, and then he also wasn't crisp on rotations, took a couple bad shots, and all of a sudden Dallas goes on a run. And I think that's when Daignault called a timeout and made a sub. He's not, just like we talked after game 2, somebody that plays 13 minutes cannot be the reason the Thunder don't win this game. I think the conversation around does he start game 4 is interesting. Like, just like the conversation was had coming into today, I think that same conversation gets had coming into game 4, because while he started the second half nice, first half, like, nobody started great. And again, that's not on Josh, but at some point, do you change that up to try something different? And maybe game 4 is where it happens.
I think that's fair. The spacing just gets killed with him out there.
Yep.
I thought he was much more decisive and aggressive in attacking that, which is nice.
Agreed. In the second half, yes.
Yes.
Yep.
I don't know. I keep coming back to it. Feels just like you lost an opportunity here. The Mavs shot poorly. You got the Isaiah Joe game, right? Like, things went your way, and you just couldn't close it out, which was really, really frustrating. Other big theme or player that you want to talk about?
I feel like we've got a hit on the big 3, and I thought all had good parts of the game and all had not great parts of the game. Shea, 31 points, as he does, 9 of 10 from the free throw line, as he does, 10 of 23 from the floor, 10 boards, 6 assists, 5 blocks. God bless. And 5 turnovers. And the turnovers were killer. Some of the decision making down the stretch from Shea, I mentioned it a little bit earlier, like, felt like he was pressing, felt like there was opportunities to get better shots, but he forced contested threes, or he tried to initiate contact that, like, you just got to know the way the game's being officiated, like, it's not going to happen. That whistle is not happening. And that's a little frustrating. Chet, incredible defense, had a lid on the basket, like you said. Offensively, 5 of 9 from the floor, 13 points. That's solid. I think you could maybe seek to see a little more from him on the offensive end of the floor, especially, again, opportunities where the Mavs had, like, there's one time down the floor where they had Tim Hardaway Jr. on him, and, like, how do you not force feed him the ball? That's not on Chet, but, like, you've got to do that, because that's what the Mavs do. That's what they do a good job at, is when they get those mismatches or the defender's a step slow, they are finding Lively and Gafford every time. The Thunder don't do that. They miss those opportunities a lot. And it feels like you said, you've got to take advantage of those chances when you get them, because you don't always get them. And then J-Dub, 16 points, 7 of 12 shooting, 1 of 2 from behind the arc, 6 boards, 8 assists. Had what I thought was going to be a leg amputation at one point, the way he laid on the ground.
Right?
But came back in and looked fine. I would say looked fine is kind of the theme for J-Dub in this series so far. Again, same as Shea. There were times where it felt like he was driving to the basket and really just looking for contact more than he was looking to score, and seemed pretty frustrated at the lack of whistles. But, like, that's a young team that's got to learn in a game like today. They're not blowing that whistle for anybody. So if you're going to the basket, you better be going with ill intent to score and not trying to hope that you get a foul call, because it's probably not going to come.
Totally agree. Flip side of the coin. Justin, I think we are officially in the Thunder have a PJ Washington problem territory.
Yep. We talked about that after the last game too. PJ Washington is not a good shooter. PJ Washington has been an excellent shooter in this series.
27.6 rebounds, 2 assists. Took 23 shots in comparison to Kyrie's 17 and Doncic's 17. He was 11 of 23.
Yep.
But PJ is what won them the game.
I took a screenshot of this. Shout out J.A. Dubin on Twitter. Statistically, if you want to understand why the Thunder are doing this, right? Like, it's a push-pull. You have to decide who's going to beat you. Statistically, PJ Washington shoots 27% on corner threes where the closest defender is 6+ feet away.
Say that one more time.
27% on corner threes that are wide open where a defender is
Wow.
6+ feet away. 27%. He's shooting like 100% on those in this series. It feels like probably not 100, but like probably legitimately 70% on open corner threes. So like that strategy,
they're all going down.
Statistically, that strategy makes sense. The problem is outliers can happen over the course of a series. We're at 2 games. That streak could continue. I thought PJ Washington was pretty bad in the fourth quarter. Do we get fourth quarter PJ Washington in game 4? Or do we get game 2, most of game 3 PJ Washington in game 4? I think that probably determines whether OKC wins. Because I think that probably determined the win in game 2 and 3. Like all the other things, the bad transition, the defensive struggle, all of it. If PJ Washington shoots 27% on wide open corner threes, Thunder are up 3-0.
Yeah. PJ Washington is the MVP of the series so far.
Yeah, he didn't. And they're not. And that you have to live with that. Like that can win you a series. That's how the playoffs work. Look back through Thunder history. There's been plenty of times for and against where a guy that wasn't the guy is suddenly the guy. And that could be PJ Washington in that series. So if you're Daigneault, okay, cool. That was a good strategy. Statistically made sense. Game 4, do you change things? The problem is when you change things, it's a push-pull. This isn't defense like this. It doesn't happen in a vacuum. You can't.
Yeah. When you don't cheat off a PJ,
exactly.
Now the lane is open for Kyrie.
You can't smother PJ and Luka and Kyrie and cut off the lob threat to Gafford. You can't do. It's not possible. Yeah. You have to pick and choose. They picked and chose, and it bit them. So game 4, do you look to switch that up? Are you okay with one of Luka or Kyrie cooking you for more than like the 20 points that you've kind of gotten from them on average? Are you okay with giving up a bunch of Gafford lobs? Kind of like what the Thunder did with New Orleans of like, all right, we're cool. Like go feed Valanciunas and let him do whatever he needs to do. Like you can have that. That's the choice the Thunder are looking for.
That's,
and
I think the lobs is non-negotiable.
I agree.
Right? The Valanciunas post-ups were like, you're guarded one-on-one with a guy with great length and great timing. The lob is much less to do with Gafford and more to do with the pass. Like, this is going to sound ridiculous. If I was 7'1" and could jump out of the gym, I can finish those lobs too. You know,
like me on this podcast if you were 7'1" and
that's the easy thing to do is like finishing those lobs. That's free points.
Yeah.
That's what you cannot give up. Now, the guy you can cheat off of is Derrick Jones Jr., and I think they need to lean even harder into that because his offense has been atrocious.
Yep. Same with Josh Green. And Josh Green, he hit some threes in game 2. He hit one tonight, but like you're not going to get that from him most times. Same with Tim Hardaway. Like Tim Hardaway has shot better than normal. Tim
Hardaway's first shot went 5 feet over the basket, and the next shot splashed. And I was like, this is the Tim Hardaway experience.
Tim Hardaway's just like me for real.
I would not have splashed the second one.
We have a couple super chats that I'd love to hit, Jacob, and I'd love to get your thoughts on these 2 comments.
I'm ready.
The first one, El Sombra Reggio 7 says, I think we're seeing the Inexperience show in this series. Sure, refs are questionable, but both coach and players making mistakes, growing pains. What are your thoughts on that?
I definitely think there's growing pains, right? 100%. The Thunder are playing a bunch of guys who are 25 or younger. Gordon Hayward did get purged from the rotation tonight, except when Dub got hurt and they just needed a body. I'm kind of surprised I didn't go with Kenrich. Gordon did take a shot. Holy shit, it was bad.
Dude, the most ill-advised, like, that's the shot? That's the one after all this time?
Yeah. So I think if they say healthy, Gordon is kind of purged from the lineup. I'm not sure about, like, questionable, like, coaching mistakes. Like, I don't know what those would have been. But yeah, this is a new experience for everybody. And the only way you learn is through getting the experiences, right? Experience is the greatest teacher.
Yep. Well, to that point, David Skelton's going to double down on that concept. Is Mark the new Scott Brooks? His refusal to change the starting lineup is putting us in horrible holes. Love getting outclassed by Jason Kidd.
This is a 0 of 10 take.
It's I get it. Like I understand.
Josh played 13 minutes. Josh was fine tonight. And when he wasn't, he got pulled.
But to his point about the starts, I think it's feasible. Is game 4 when you finally see that? It might be.
There's a chance. If it is, who do you think it should be for?
That's a great question, because coming into tonight, I would have said Aaron Wiggins. And I think he might still be my answer. But I didn't think Wiggins had a great game today. Isaiah Joe did. Isaiah Joe seems to love the American Airlines Center. And I kind of wonder if you start Joe. I don't know if you're willing to make that sacrifice defensively. Not that Joe is bad defensively, but the slow offensive starts. It's not just Giddey. It's slow offensive starts have been the problem. Can Joe change that? He might.
Yeah.
You might find yourself in a higher scoring back and forth early on, but maybe that benefits the Thunder in the long run. I don't know. I think Queso is the safe choice. Queso feels like,
I was about to say, I think if you put Kaysen in there, what Kaysen does is if you put him in there and let him guard Kyrie, Dort stays on Lou.
Yep.
Then you can move J-Dub over to PJ Washington. And I don't think it's stick to PJ Washington and never let him get a look. I think you still play that type of rotational help defense you are, but you just play a step closer. Instead of taking those 3 steps in from the corner to help on the drive, it's only 2, so your recovery is quicker, and you're cutting off a little more of that passing lane. And you're just putting a little bit of a bigger body on PJ as well. That would be my argument for Case. And I think Wiggins is a bit of the middle ground there. But for what it's worth, I think Josh Giddey starts game 4.
It's the most likely option just because that's what's happened the entire season.
Yeah. I don't see them going away from it. I think a lot of people think it's just you take out Josh and everything is fixed. And I think it's you take out Josh and you plug one hole and another hole gets opened up somewhere else. And you're playing the game of there's so many holes in the ship and I can only stop so much water from coming in.
Right.
But man, again, I didn't think Josh was the reason they lost the game tonight.
Do you think Kenrich gets any minutes or done?
I do not.
It's still surprising to me.
It's incredible when you look at the minute distribution tonight. If Hayward did not get in, and the only reason he got in was because the Dub injury. Then they played 9 guys down from their 11. Jay Will, Isaiah Joe, Wiggins, and Wallace. And Wiggins played the most minutes on the bench with 22. Case and Wallace only got 14. That was kind of surprising to me. Meanwhile, the starters played a lot of minutes except Josh Giddey, who only played 13. You had 40 for Lou, 42 for Shea, 38 for J-Dub, and 35 for Chet. I thought the series was cooked whenever J-Dub rolled the ankle.
Yeah, I totally agree. It looked bad the way he stayed down. So that's great news that he came back in. I would assume he plays game 4. I don't think that's a hindrance. But hey, now he has a built-in excuse. If he ever misses a shot, just grab that ankle.
There you go.
Find the camera and grab the ankle.
Don't take the Luka route. Let's not do that, please. Another ad break, and then we'll come back and wrap it up, Justin.
Let's do it.
All right. We will be back in just a moment. Please stick around. And we are back. Justin, some big thoughts heading into. I hate when people say it is a must win. You know when a game is must win? When the other team has 3 wins in the series.
Oh, I was going to say the opposite. They're all must win. Isn't that the point of the playoffs?
Yeah. If you lose on Monday, this series is not over. Yep. Right? There is still a game 5 on the horizon.
Yep.
I will call it a pivotal game, though. Hey, we
Yes.
are on track with my prediction. What did you predict? Thunder in 7?
I
No, you
predicted Mavs in 6.
Mavs in 6.
We are also on track with my prediction, unfortunately.
Yes. Thunder win game 4. It's 2-2 coming back to Paycom for game 5. That place would be insane.
Yep.
I had Thunder in 6. I said they would split the 2 at home. They'd split the 2 on the road. They had a great chance to at least secure a split on the road and didn't get it tonight.
Yep.
They got another chance coming up in 2 days. What are some things that you need to see Monday night for this team to get the victory?
I want to see this team look like themselves offensively and dictate what the Mavs can do and not vice versa. That felt like to me the biggest thing. The Mavs were swarming everywhere. The way they were switching, playing almost like a little bit of a soft zone at times, just had the Thunder scrambling. When so many times what we see from the Thunder, what we see from Shea, what we see from J-Dub, it's when they get to their spots, you can't stop them. But they're not getting to their spots. They're taking uncharacteristic shots. They're forcing things. They're not getting going till late in the shot clock. The ball isn't sticking, or if it is sticking, or the ball is sticking, but if it's not, they're almost overpassing to where they're still passing the ball with like 1 or 2 seconds left on the shot clock. They need to get back to the Thunder offense that made them successful. And again, credit the Mavs for forcing them out of that. But I think the Thunder can dictate this. That's what they did in game 1, and I think they can do it again. I think it starts in transition. That's how you start to establish it. And the Thunder haven't been able to get into that transition offense throughout much of this series, especially game 2 and 3, which starts with rebounding. So I feel like I'm just like cascading, right? Like it's all connected though. Like it's all those things matter. They're all push and pull on each other, and that's where it starts and stops with this Oklahoma City team. It's got to be better.
Agreed. I don't feel like the Thunder have thrown their best punch in this series yet. I feel like they have at moments.
It's been a great like back and forth, but pretty ugly. Like both teams, I would say if you asked an average Mavs fan, like they're probably not thrilled about the Mavs performance either. It's been a slugfest,
and that's what a playoff series does.
Yep.
Who can grit it out and find a win? The Mavs did that today. The Thunder are going to try to do that on Monday. I think the slow starts are a pretty big storyline that need to be addressed. I thought there was a lot of times today where you kind of mentioned the dichotomy of either the ball is sticking or it's getting passed too much, and there's not like as much of a flow and this rhythm and this consistency to the offense. I felt like there was a lot of missed opportunities on like pick and pops, guys just a little hesitant to shoot the semi-open 3 because it's not wide open, and sometimes maybe hunting too much for the shot. So that is something I would kind of look for as well. It's just a little more decisive offense, right? I think that would be that would go a long way. Yeah, I mean,
here's an adjustment for you, Jacob.
Okay.
Luis in the chat, are we going to have to listen to Hubie Brown for the rest of this series?
I think they went and dug up Hubie Brown's body and stuck it in that chair. My God, that man sucks.
Not great. Not a joy.
He is awful.
The last 2 games.
He leans very much Mavericks, but God, it sounds like I tweeted this. It sounds like somebody like cast Reanimate Dead on a corpse, and that's what I'm listening to.
Oh man,
is game 4 on ESPN?
I think it's on TNT.
If it's on TNT, if we can get Jamal Crawford or Kevin Harlan or someone,
literally,
he's just boring as hell too, man.
Yes. What drives me nuts is like,
did you know Luka Doncic is 6'7"?
I didn't. Thanks for sharing. What gets me is he'll be like, well, obviously you can you can see the contact there on multiple occasions, really obvious foul, and like they're showing the replay over and over, and it's like, where's the
at one point he said the Thunder doubled Kyrie, which got PJ Washington an open shot. There was never a double. They had PJ bodied the entire possession, and PJ hit a tough running hook. I'm like,
he's probably got cataracts. You know, he's not seeing what's actually happening. He's just running off vibes.
He is
not great. Not great.
Put him in a home, man.
Poor Hubie. Poor Hubie.
He's awful.
PJ Washington, like if we want to talk adjustments, I know that's the thing that the chat is screaming about, rightfully so. The PJ Washington answer is going to be interesting. And the PJ Washington answer could just be he regresses to the mean. That honestly is probably the most likely scenario.
Mm-hmm.
And if so, then the strategy that won you game 1 and lost you game 2 and 3 might win you game 4. If it doesn't, if he comes out and hits 2 3-pointers in the first quarter, Jacob, like what do you think happens?
If he comes out and hits,
if it comes out game 4, hits 2 threes quick in the first quarter, what do you do if you're the Thunder?
I mean, you can't like over rotate. You can't like overdo it. But I think you see them stick a lot more to him and cheat off more on Derrick Jones Jr. I think that's the answer.
Yeah. Yep. I agree.
It is what it is.
It is indeed.
Folks, 7-game series for a reason. We got game 4 Monday night. We'll be with you Sunday, tomorrow, 9 p.m., as always. And then we'll be back Monday night, hopefully, as the Thunder tie up the series 2-2. It might be 3-1, which would be not great, but we will be here regardless. Again, I can't stress enough how 1 or 2 possessions and this entire post-game podcast is just a completely different vibe. You know, it's literally a game of like 2 possessions here.
Yep.
Is the difference. To me, the biggest thing was the other team taking 10 more field goal attempts. It reminded me very much of a Memphis Grizzlies series back in the day.
Yeah.
Where they just dominate the glass.
Yep.
With Gasol and Rudolph. Like that's what I felt so much tonight.
I know we're like wrapping up, but like game 1, what it felt like where OKC held their own on the rebound battle is they were forcing tip outs and getting a lot
of offensive tap outs
and
for the Thunder in game 1.
2 and 3 feels like the Mavericks have shut that down by swarming to every rebound. Every ball that comes off the backboard or the rim, there's multiple blue Mavs jerseys attacking it, which didn't happen as much. It felt like the Thunder were being the aggressors on that front. I don't know if the tap out strategy can work in game 4 if the Mavericks are going to be that aggressive.
And if they're going to be aggressive on the defensive glass, only so much you can do with that, and that's going to limit their run out attempts because they're doubling down on rebounding.
Yeah.
But then you have to respond on the other end by securing defensive rebounds.
Yep.
And that's everybody. Everybody has to dig in, get down, and hit the glass.
Yep.
All right. Anything else, Justin?
No, sir.
We'll be back tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Central Time, to look at this holistic series, the first 3 games. We'll get into maybe a little bit of draft stuff with the lottery happening tomorrow. Feels interesting, like not having to worry about the lottery, Justin.
Yeah, not the priority right now for once.
Instead, I'm creating curse words to yell at my television at 4:00 on a Saturday afternoon.
I put it in the uncontested group message, but this game had me at standing up in the living room levels of stress for the first time since the Trailblazers playoff series. I felt it today.
It is what it is. All right. We'll be back Sunday and Monday. Stick around. Don't lose hope. I know they've lost 2 in a row. That's playoff basketball, baby. It happens. We will see you all in a little over 24 hours. Enjoy your Mother's Day, and we'll chat soon. Until then, and as always, Thunder up.